Okay, we're gonna do the Mystery Tackle Box Pro review for August. I was excited to get this box. I love getting these boxes. This one is a bass one again. Last month I had the one for the bluegill, and I used some of the equipment out of it on some of my other videos. You see me catching bluegill. So this one is back to the bass. I got some really nice stuff in here. First off, we're going to start off with Skeet Reese, a spinnerbait. Real high quality spinnerbait. Take it out of the back here. This is in baby bluegill color. It's a Lucky Craft. Alright, there we go. Nice color. It's got the translucence in the skirt, the metal flake in the skirt. It's got a painted head. Silver blade, which is good, and also the willow leaf blade, which is good, because I tend to fish spinnerbaits pretty fast, because most of the year my water here is pretty clear, so I don't like slow roll them. If only if I'm fishing deep water, but most of the time I'm fishing a spinnerbait just under the surface and then moving it pretty quick. It's got the separation beads on it. It's got a gripper on it if you want to put a trailer on it. That's a real nice bait. High quality bait for sure. Alright, next up, Brandon Polinick's one of his favorite lures. It's a Storm Argashi. The crankbait. It's a nice pink color with the olive green back. See it shining in the light there. Good quality travel. It's got the little weight transfer in it. It's got almost like a circuit board bill on it. Real hard. It's not like a regular plastic bill, because you want to get that for deflection. This also has a self-tuning line tie, so the crankbait will always come straight. Even if the eye gets knocked off a little bit, it will always self-right itself, so that it tracks straight in the water, which is what you want. This one dives to 7 feet, as you can see. And it has a rattle in it for some noise. Sometimes rattles help, sometimes rattles do not help. It depends on the type of water you're fishing, and if the fish are pressured, sometimes a noisy bait will, turn them off because they've heard it all before. Sometimes then a quiet bait sneaking up on them will make them strike. These are pretty unusual. I've never seen these before. There's a Brew Co. It's a sea spin bait. It's a soft plastic worm. It's pretty thick. You open the bag, the first thing you smell is like krill. Like fish food almost. There's the worm. It's kind of translucent color with the red flake in it. And it really smells strong of like krill or shrimp. It's got a good thick body, be pretty buoyant on it. It's a smoke red. That's the color. It's a 4.5 inch worm size. So I've never seen those before. I'm looking forward to trying that. They are nice and soft. I guess you could rig it. You could Texas rig it, or you could wacky rig it. Probably a number of ways. The head of the worm is fatter than the tail of the worm. It's thicker, so it's tapered in that direction. So you could probably end weight it. Use it a lot of different ways. Here was something that I was really interested to try these. They're Intruder X blades, and what it is a blade, a spinnerbait blade that screws into a soft plastic. You see it's got a worm, like a threaded screw on it there. You can see that. Well, this piece here screws into the head of a worm or a lizard or whatever you want, or the tail of a worm or a lizard, and then it's got a little gold willow leaf spinner blade. So you would screw it into a soft plastic worm and use it as an attractor. I've seen guys use that on some of the Bass Pro, on a Bass Master Elite series. They'll put these in like the tail end of a Senko worm, And as they're swimming the worm through the water, of course, the little blade is going behind it like a propeller. Just a little bit of attraction, something a little different. I thought that was pretty interesting. Okay, here we go. Some crankbaits, another crankbait. This time we have a Rapala DT Fat. It's a swimming depth is 3 feet, so it's like a little square bill. Pretty good color. It's got the silver with the olive drab back, a little orange throat, and then the chartreuse with the shad spot on it. Let's take it out of the packet here. Anything Rapala is pretty high quality. They're excellent lures. It's got that little fat shape profile. It's got the square bill for deflection, so you deflect it off of wood or rock or whatever you want to, drag it on the bottom real fast and, you know, bounce it off cover. And a lot of times that's when you're going to get your strikes, is when you deflect this off of something, because it said if there was a log in the water and the bait comes along and boom, it bounces off and then deflects up. A lot of times that's when you're going to get a strike. They have real decent quality hooks and stuff on it. And again, like I said, the chartreuse is a good color. It's got the olive back and then the scale finish on the side. It's really nice. Now, last but not least, we have some El Grande lures here. Size does matter. Fortified with El Grande tequila. And this is a bait called a Gila Monster, which I thought was pretty cool. It's like a magnum lizard. There you go. I can just about fit it all in. And it kind of smells like garlic. I smell garlic and almost like a power bait worm. That's got that real strong odor to it. It's got little flapper feet, and then of course this will be the head. It's got a bulbous tail, so I would imagine that's got to have some action to it too. Bass hate nest robbing animals, like little small turtles, lizards, craws sometimes too. It'll, you know, go in and rob bass eggs. So they usually around, you know, post spawn, even pre spawn, they'll attack these things pretty quickly, especially if they see them crawling around areas where they're going to nest. But this is a pretty big lizard. I'm going to say it's got to be 6 or 7 inches long. It's pretty sizable. The Gila Monster. It's ribbed to displace water. I don't know how it swims. Of course, I haven't tried it yet. It's going to be interesting to try it. Put a big, you know, 4.0, 5.0 hook in there and see what you can get. It'd probably work good on either flipping it, or like I said, if you're going to pitch it around spawning areas, or a Carolina rig, I'd say would be pretty good with this. Have them drifting out, you know, behind the weight, swimming along. So that'd be pretty interesting to try. Now that was it for the mystery tackle box. But I have some other lures that I got that I've been testing out that were not from the mystery tackle box. This is, of course, it's a frog color. It's a Jackal Pompadour Jr. It's a topwater lure, and it creates a lot of noise and racket. It's got a little propeller on the backside there, and the hook is jointed so it can move. And then it's got a bottom treble on it, and it's got these little walker wings, almost like a head and crazy crawler. But in the water, this thing swishes from side to side. You can hear it rattling. It makes a lot of racket. It leaves a bubble trail. I mean, you can see this thing coming from 50 yards away. So it is really noisy. I would say it definitely work well over deep water, and it makes a lot of racket. So even in water that's not calm, that's, you know, pretty choppy, you're gonna still hear this bait. But like I said, I only just got it, so I've only used it a couple of times. But that's definitely very interesting. Now, I had a couple of baits that my parents sent me from back home. This is a Savage Gear rattle trap. It's almost like a Strike King Red Eye shad. It's got the rattles in it. It's a real good Pike Color. The Fire Tiger with the stripes on it. It's got the red eye. these sink, what you'll do is cast it out, you let it sink down, then rip it up real quick, and then let it sink, and then rip it up real quick, and it has a real, like a shimmy on the fall when it falls, and it's good for fishing around grass and stuff like that. But that's a really good color for the pike. You can hear it, it's got a real noisy rattle to it. They also sent me this. This is another Savage Gear lure. Some of these lures I can't get here. They're very, very popular in Europe for pike fishing and sandor fishing and stuff. This is the little power trout. It's a hard body foreplay. Of course, it's in trout pattern. Anything in trout pattern is usually pretty good. Everything eats trout. Bass, pike, everything. It's got a pretty shallow lip on it, so it's like a subsurface walker. It's got 4 joints, and at the joint at the tail, mid body, and then at the head, it's got a nice little red flash for the gill plate. Really nice. So I'm looking forward to trying that. And last but not least, we had the Savage Gear soft foreplay and perch. This is an interesting setup. I have one of these in a pike size. This is about 3.5 inch maybe. I have one of these in a pike size that's like 8 inches. It's really, really big, but the swimming action on it is fantastic. Again, it's a segmented body. It swims. It's also rigged on a wire. It's got a single treble hook in the bottom here, and you anchor your line to the front here, of course, and then it's almost like a little free line swim bait. But when the fish gets hooked, the lure itself comes off the wire, so all that's left in the fish's mouth is the hook and the wire, and it gets rid of the bait. And for anybody who fishes pike, they know that if you have a big bait in his mouth and he's thrashing his head from side to side, it's much easier for him to throw the hooks. So that can be something you have to really watch for, because of the weight of the bait will actually, when he head shakes from side to side, it will pull the bait out of his mouth, and he'll be able to spit it right out. So that's pretty clever. So they have other lures like that, like their line through trout and things like that. It works like a Huddleston trout. It slides away from the hook once the fish gets hooked. It also saves the bait. So those are pretty interesting as well. Looking forward to trying those. If it swims like the bigger one I have, that's going to work really, really well. Alright, that's it for the mystery tackle box review for this month. Fishing here's been really tough because of the heat. It's been over 100 degrees for like the last week, super high humidity. Fishing has been hard. But we're hopefully coming into some of the cooler months now, and it's going to pick up. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.